Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Trinea Reed, and I am the Workforce Development Manager here at the Amputee Coalition. And today we have Larry Borowsky from Amplitude, and he's going to give an overview of the career resources within Amplitude. Thank you, Larry, for being with us today.
Appreciate that, Trinea. Thanks for having me. I'm really glad to be here, and thanks to everyone who is on the line or watching on video. Um, and I just want to, I'm going to share my screen and run you through a few of our resources so you know how to find everything that I'm going to show you. And let's see if I can figure out how to do this. I am going to share the screen. There we go. Um, so this is Amplitude's homepage, and I just quickly want to make sure if you're not familiar with Amplitude, we are a 9-year-old publication. We are exclusively written for people with limb difference, caregivers, prosthetists, everyone in the limb loss community and limb difference community. This is what our publication looks like. If you've never seen it, this is our current issue with Shaquem Griffin on the cover. That's our September-October issue. We come out 6 times a year. So the current issue is the September-October. We'll have a new issue out in November. And this is just sort of a look at what our publication has looked like over the years. We also come out once a month. Once a week digitally. If you're not a subscriber, you can sign up for our weekly newsletter. And so we have digital only content that comes out once a week as well. So just a quick introduction there for anyone who's not familiar with us. Our website is livingwithamplitude.com. That's where you can find us on the web. And to find your way to our job creation services, workforce development, and so forth. What we have is something that we call the amputee resource directory, and that's where all of this information is stored. If you come to our main navigation, it's under resources, and then you go to amputee resource directory, which will drop down, and that is going to slowly load in our resource directory, which we launched earlier this year. And just a quick word on, the reasons that we put this together were twofold. We routinely got inquiries from our audience looking for certain kinds of information. And as we kept track of those, we saw that, they kind of all fell into, a small number of like categories of information that people were seeking. And we had various people tell us, it would be great to have a one-stop centralized resource to look for information. And that is what this is intended to do. All of the resources that are listed here, if you just come to the homepage, they're all listed, okay? It's just this alphabetical listing. You can navigate, and I'll show you how to do that. But if you want, you can just scroll down the whole list. There's close to 500 different organizations here that all have services and programs that are aimed specifically for people with limb loss or limb difference in one way, shape, or form. The information comes from a variety of different places. We have a published resource called the Limb Loss Resource Guide. That's what's on my screen right now, which you can order for $6.50. It's full of information, but it's a print. It's a print product, and therefore it goes out of date. And I'll be honest, this has been published a few years ago, so it's not 100% current. And so we felt like, well, a digital resource is something you can update in real time. You can reflect changes more easily than you can in a print product. We also, so we got much of the information comes from there. Our partner in this effort is the Liner Wand, which many of you are familiar with. And they had developed a list of resources that they shared with us. And then, we also did some of our own independent research to round this out. We're constantly adding, probably about 10 to 20 new agencies every month. And most of these are either government offices or they're nonprofits. So these are not like for-profit companies that are trying to sell you something. These are organizations that have services that are freely available to the public, that you can look for to get help. Uh, right here at the top, you can see we've got a little guide, a very quick introduction that tells you how do you find amputee resources. If you don't want to scroll through alphabetically, which is not the easiest way to find something, we have three things. You can search by category, you can search by search term, or you can go by state. Okay, and so I'm going to quickly show you the first one. The category is this bar right here, browse by category, and we've organized all of these listings into 8 or 9 buckets. All right, we've got one category of adaptive sports. We've got clothes, shoes, prosthetic covers. If you're looking for financial assistance, you would look for that category. Since this group has a lot of military veterans and active duty, we do have a category for that. And I'll just quickly, if I click on that, just to show you what happens if you choose a category. What we now have here is it filtered out everything that isn't tagged as a military resource. And you'll see we have these icons, right? This is the icon, this brown icon with the stars and bars is for military organizations, but some of the other organizations, like these are adaptive sports organizations that have military programming. Here's a charitable organization that has military specific funding sources for it. And so anything that gets tagged as military will show up in there. And as you can see, we've got quite a large number of different organizations in there. So I'm going to hit clear search to get rid of that particular filter and take it back to the full list. And let's take a look again and see if my objective is to find resources for job training and job development. Can I find a category for that? And if I look at all of these, the answer is actually no. None of these categories specifically refers to job search. And so that just means we didn't have, there's only so many categories we wanted. We didn't want to have 50 categories that would make it difficult to find what you're looking for. So we really wanted a small number of main categories, but that is okay because all I have to do then is go into this search bar and I can use the second method, which is find by search term. Okay, and so if I come in here and I'm going to just type in the word jobs and see what comes up if I search on that. Okay, and now what I've got here is, let's just scroll down and count them. It looks like it's 4, 5. I'm going to count quickly. It looks like there's about 20 organizations, which is a pretty good list. Not enough to create its own category in our estimation, but still it's easy enough to find these just by using that search word feature. And then once you've got your list, okay, now I have winnowed that, 400 or 500 alphabetical list down to the 20 agencies and programs that really have the information that I'm looking for. Now it's just a matter of going through each one to see what does this offer me? And the way to do that is to let's just start at the top here. This is the Centers for Independent Living. Many of you will be familiar with those. And if you click on either the name or this little bar here, it will drop down and give you a little more information about it. It'll give you a map to show you where to find it. Most importantly, it will give you a live link to their website. Okay, so now I'm going to click on that, and it's taking me now to the ILRU website, which is, in this case, it's taking me to a list, searchable list of all of the independent living centers across the country. Okay, so I can find the ones in my area. I happen to live in Colorado. So if I want to find one near my uh, community, near my house, I click on Colorado. Then I can filter by the city that I live in, which happens to be Denver, and I would go from there. And once I would then get down to the independent living center near me, I can use that organization's resources to find out what's the job training programming that they offer. So let's go back to the main list. Okay. Maybe that CIL is not exactly what I'm looking for. Let's see what some of the other possibilities are. We have ability core. Okay. Well, what's that? I can just read this little intro and see, does this have the kind of thing that I'm working for? Our purpose is to create a world of inclusion and awareness. I'm going to say, nah, I don't want to look at that right now. Vocational rehab, most of you will be familiar with that. This is similar. It's going to take me to a state-by-state directory. Here's the National Limb Loss Resource Center, which is maintained by the Amputee Coalition. That would be another place where I might be able to find some other resources. Here's American Job Centers. Okay, this is one that maybe some of you aren't familiar with. It's run by the U.S. Department of Labor. Okay, and if I go there, they've got a whole bunch of resources for me to look at. Okay, if I want to build up my skills for the workforce, they've got a program for that. If I want to do a straight job search, I can click on that. They've got some interview coaching, accommodations. They also have the vocational rehab thing. And if I do the job search thing, what do I find? Okay, more lists. I'm going to keep fishing here because what I really want to find is a job board. Okay, so I'm just going to keep scrolling. This one looks promising. Recruit disability. That looks like a pretty actionable thing. So let me click on that and see what they offer. Okay, this looks closer to what I want. Okay, view all jobs. I'm looking for a job. And so if I click on that, okay, jobs at Emergent Biosolutions, nothing found. Let me type in Denver and just see if any jobs come up. Okay, so here we go. Got a bunch of jobs here in Denver that look like these have all been pre-cleared for people with disabilities. Okay. And again, I know that because if I go back to the initial page here and understand, well, what does this organization do? Recruit Disability is an open source employment initiative that shares information for amputees and other job seekers with disabilities. So this is specifically a job board for people with disabilities. So there's a direct hit. Let's see if I can find another one down here. Ticket to Work looks pretty promising as well. A federally funded employment program designed to support amputees and people with disabilities who receive SSDI or SSI benefits. Let's check that out. Okay, and they've got, it doesn't look like a job board, but it does look like they have quite a number of resources on here that can help me find my way into the workforce. So I'm not going to go through every single one on the list, but I did want to hit on some of these to show you the variety of different services you might be able to find if you are searching. Just another couple ones I'll point out here. Here's the Association of Programs for Rural Independent Living. That's a really neat organization. If you don't live in a metro area and resources are a little more scarce, harder to come by, that's a really good organization. Agribility is another one down here that I'm familiar with that also focuses on workforce opportunities for people in the farming and ranching industries. Want to make sure that I call out the Amputee Coalition's Workforce Development Program. We have a listing for that. We have many of the Amputee Coalition's programs in our database. And so if you are, since you're in this webinar, you already know about the Amputee Coalition, but if you're coming from outside of the AC and you come to our website, you're going to find your way to everything the AC offers. So let's back out of this particular list. I'm going to scroll back up to the top and clear the search. And I just want to show you one other thing. And let me wait for this to clear. Okay, now I'm back to this full unfiltered list. I typed in the word jobs, okay? But if I typed in workforce, if I could type properly, you would think that I could. If I type in workforce, well, I only came up with 3. So that's a little bit of a gap in our keywording. We tried to keyword these so that no matter what term you type in, it's going to bring you the information you're looking for. Let's type in career and see what comes up. All right, career, I typed that in, and I've got almost all of the same ones. In fact, I would say it probably is all of the same ones that came up when I typed in jobs. So it really is keyworded in a way that you don't have to pick a narrow specific word in order to find the information you're looking for. If I type in training, going to get a similar list, I think. Yeah, see a lot of these same ones, agribility, April, job accommodation network, etc. So last thing I'll show you, and that is for many people, the important thing is to find something nearby. And so we are working right now, we are demoing on our development site a really robust geolocation feature where you can search by zip code. And it's not ready for prime time yet. I'd hope to be able to show that to you today, but I can't. But what I can show you is if you just want to find resources that are near you, you can type it in by, say, by state. Okay. And so they're all keyworded by state. So if I type in, I'm not going to pick one of the largest states because that'll give us a really robust list. But let's take Missouri, where I'm from. That's where I was born, grew up there. And let's see what we got for Missouri, which is it's a very medium-sized state. And what's going to come up in here are not only organizations that are headquartered in Missouri, which includes this one I'm familiar with, Design With Us, which is headquartered in Columbia. It's also going to have organizations that are headquartered outside of Missouri, but that provide service within Missouri. Okay, so DAV is a perfect example, right? They are headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, but they serve anyone in Missouri. So if you are looking for an organization that can help you in Missouri, we want that to show up on the list. And so likewise, something like ABLE, okay, which is a organization that helps you maximize your savings if you're a person with disabilities. That's a federal program. You can see headquartered in North Dakota, but they do business in Missouri. And so that is the way that you can find, for now, that you can find organizations that are near you. Now, if you're looking for workforce that's near you, as you can see, Missouri, even Missouri, which is not one of the larger states, I think probably about the 30th most populous state at this point, there's still over 100 organizations here. And some of them do have the job-related stuff, but you would have to scroll through and fish them out. And so the best way to search for job-specific things is to use the search term on job, work, career, training, and find them that way, and then just fish through and find the ones that provide service in your area. So I am gonna allow, if anyone, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen so I can see the chat. And if anyone's got a question right now, raise your hand, or actually just enter your question in the chat, and I'll just keep an eye on that. I'll give you a minute or so to see if any questions pop up. Trinea, I'll bring you back in while we're waiting. Any questions on your end?
No, no questions on my end, Larry. You went through everything just fine, and it was great, very thorough. Thank you so much. Again, anyone that's on the call, if you have any questions, you could drop them in the Q&A box. If you have any comments, if you want to drop them there. Great resource, to use as far as, different job resources for those with disabilities. So definitely a very, very valuable resource to take a look at, as you're starting your career journey, or, I know Larry pulled up one of the resources for ticket at work. That's also a good resource for you to take a look at. If you're on disability benefits and you're trying to transition back into work, very good information there. As Larry mentioned, we also, he also has our workforce development program resource on there. You could take a look at that. Any questions specific, for Larry, definitely reach out to him. Larry, did you have your contact information there, or are you able to drop it in the chat?
I'll drop it in the chat. Yeah, it's very simple. My email is larry@livingwithamplitude.com. And there it is in the chat. And you can also use another one. Well, I'll just leave it at that one. There's another couple ways to reach me, but that's the most straightforward way. If you do have questions about how do I use the resource guide, or maybe a question is, I didn't see my organization listed in there, how do I get listed? Or maybe if you have a question about, say, there's another resource not related to workforce that I'm looking for. Can you help me find it in the directory? Any kind of questions, we're happy to help you if we can. As I said, we're growing this out. We're at somewhere between 400 and 500 organizations. We've got a queue of about 200 more that we haven't had time to put in yet. And we are constantly trying to make it as robust and useful as we can. So we welcome all questions, comments. If you think you have a way to make it more useful, let us know.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Larry. And, as Larry mentioned, we have our workforce development program here at the Amputee Coalition. So if you are a person with limb loss or limb difference, or if you know a person with limb loss and limb difference that are looking to return to work or start work, definitely reach out to us, our workforce development program for adults and veterans. You could go on our Amputee Coalition website under our workforce development tab to get started and to register for our program, as well as taking a look at all the great resources that Larry discussed and provided on Amplitude when it comes to your career search and your career journey.
Yeah, and it is, of course, it's Disability Employment Awareness Month. So this is a fruitful time to be looking for those resources. There's a fair amount of attention on it right now. And so I think this is probably a good time if you're looking to get back into the workforce. There might be a little extra attention on it.
Yes, absolutely. Great point, Larry. And again, if you have any additional questions, definitely feel free to either reach out to me or Larry. at Amplitude. If we're able to assist in any way, just let us know. We are happy to help.
Thanks for having me, Trinae. I really appreciate it. Thanks for everyone who attended.
Thank you, Larry, for joining us today, and thank you, attendees, for joining the call. I hope you all have a great day.